Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Here's your quote for the day. You never bring a bill to the floor unless you have the votes. And in order to know you have the votes, you have to know how to count. Okay, this reading is about the Republicans in Congress they're failing. They're falling flat on their faces. Twice in the House, once in the Senate. In the House, they put a vote up to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas with regards to what they feel is high crimes and misdemeanors for his failure to secure the southern border. And that vote failed. Later, they took a standalone vote for funding for Israel through an aid package, and that vote failed. They were looking to try and get the Democrats out, catch the Democrats out, to show hypocrisy with the Democrats, but the bill didn't pass. So instead of throwing shade at the Democrats, it just makes the Republicans look like they are just out of touch with what's going on. And in the Senate Republicans who helped negotiate and address the southern border bill, the Senate Republicans did not support the bill on Wednesday. The Wednesday vote, as I understand it, was just to advance the bill to begin debates and discussions on it, and it didn't pass the Senate. So all those negotiations that James Langford of Oklahoma did so far have gone for naught. And I don't know what they're going to need to do in order to get that bill to advance. Now, one of the interesting things with the Mayorkas vote was that Johnson knew he had 3 Republicans who were not going to vote for impeaching Mayorkas. And Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, who was one of those 3 Republicans, basically said, for the last month, I said, I am not voting to impeach. When they whipped, I said no. They knew the answer. They knew my answer. So don't blame me for this. They brought it to the floor despite that. And it seems what happened was that that Johnson thought that there was one House Democrat who was undergoing major surgery, and they figured he wasn't going to be able to make it. And they wheeled this guy in after his major surgery so he could cast a vote. And it just undermined the Republicans. Who was it? It was Al Green of Texas, who was in the hospital recovering from major surgery and was wheeled in at the 11th hour so he could cast the deciding vote against the impeachment. And GOP Representative Carlos Jimenez of Florida told CNN, the Democrats played hide and seek with us. Y'all, 3 Republicans didn't want to vote for it, and you assume that because this Democrat was having major surgery, he wasn't going to vote. And you're saying it's the Democrats that played you? Dude, you played yourself. So, in the immortal words of Nancy Pelosi, she's such a queen, man, throwing shade. You never bring a bill to the floor unless you have the votes. And in order to know if you have the votes, you have to know how to count. F you. Okay, long intro, but I thought it helps set the table. Oh, so much Republican dysfunction, so little time. Okay, Mike Johnson, what is going on in your House of Representatives? Y'all vote to impeach Mayorkas and you fail, and then you try and catch the Democrats out with a standalone funding bill for Israel, and you fail again. Now, mind you, with Johnson, where is I going to go with this? They do have Steve Scalise, who's out for surgery, and when he's back, they'll vote to impeach Mayorkas again, and this time they'll be successful in it, unless some other Republicans decide to grow a spine or something along those lines, because so far this guy's not committed any high crimes and misdemeanors. And when you have a bill that would address the border, y'all don't want to vote for it. So maybe you all should be impeached too. Entertainment purposes only. What is going on with Mike Johnson and the folks in the House? Entertainment purposes only. Johnson, dude can't count. Plain and simple. He looks at all these things Republicans want to do, and he's losing track of the votes. He's losing track of what's important. You know, in some ways, this is also this is where most Republicans are, and then you've got this one little group of extremists that he has to deal with. And the extremists are between his legs. Either like he pooped it out, or they're going to kick him in the you-know-whats if he doesn't do what they want him to do. Regardless, so many descriptors, so little time. Crossed with the burden. Math is hard. Remember the talking Barbie from the 80s, and the line said math is hard, and everybody threw up their arms saying, oh, you're just saying women can't do arithmetic? Apparently, MAGA Moses Mike Johnson can't do arithmetic either. Give him one of those dolls stat. Yeah, Johnson's got an unenviable position. He's got like a couple vote majority. They made their own damn rules that if you're not there, you can't vote. So when Steve Scalise has blood cancer and he's undergoing stem cell research that he voted not to fund, you're kind of down some votes. And then you're hoping Democrats who are undergoing major surgery won't be there to vote, and then they show up. You're kind of left looking like a fool. And it's hard to do that work when you have such a narrow majority and your party is so divided. And now you've got representatives from Texas like, what the hell are we going to tell our constituents? When it's calling me saying, what the hell are you guys doing up there? There's no answer. And they got no solution. But they're looking for solutions. I don't know. Maybe they're looking for something that they can do that they would agree on. But they don't agree on anything. So they say it's not a loss, it's a setback. So they're looking for another round that happens later on. Like, again, when Steve Scalise comes back in, they'll get to have their impeachment of Mr. Mayorkas. In the past, Four of Swords. They had like a 4-vote lead. And then Santos got expelled, and they basically chased McCarthy out of there, and Steve Scalise has surgery, and another guy's leaving in March. You're running out of bodies. Now they're getting some guys back too through special elections and such, but the GOP's a mess right now. What they really should be doing, and this is in the past, they should have been taking stock of what they had and what's their best path. God, I can't speak. Best path forward. I don't think they're doing that. They're just being reactionary. They're not thinking. They're not planning. There's no strategy here. So they're just going to keep repeating their errors because they don't learn from their errors. They don't think things through. They're not strategic. They're just a bunch of reactionaries. Current situation is the Nine of Wands. They can't get anything done. And it's like, now they're going to be a little bit gun shy about making any promises to their base about what they're going to get done because it's too hard and they can't keep their promises. They can't keep their promises because they don't have a high-level strategic plan that people have bought into. If you have a plan, you can sell the plan to people here so that this burden is less and you can get the job done. They don't have that. The overarching energy is the Queen of Wands. I haven't quite figured out who this card is yet. Sometimes it's judges. I don't think it's MAGA Mike there. In some ways, it's kind of like Nancy Pelosi. If even one of the Republicans even mentioned that as awful as he thought Nancy Pelosi was, she at least got stuff done. She knew how to count. And again, it's really remarkable. It shows you how good Nancy Pelosi was at getting things done with slim majorities. It's something that people weren't giving her a lot of credit for, general public, if you will. But it was a strength of hers, and the Republicans don't have that strength. They don't have that leadership. And they need that leadership. The lesson to be learned is the emperor. Honestly, Mike Johnson's not a leader. He doesn't galvanize people underneath him. This guy can be hard and stern. I don't think Johnson's like that at all. I think he's squishy. He pretends to be hard and stern, like, oh, we're not going to, the Senate border deal is dead on arrival. Well, that's because Trump told you to say that. That's not you saying that. That's Trump telling you what to say. If Trump tomorrow told you to take that very same bill and sign it, you'd do it in a second. You're not an emperor. You are anything but. Since there's no strong leadership and there's no strategic plan in place, what you end up with is the Republican Party in one card. A bunch of hillbillies in a drunken brawl. Coming to a rural town near you. Yep. Here's your Republicans. Right there. In a nutshell. Oh, God. Kim from Intuit View, when discussing with her guides about the 2022 House election and seeing, I think she was seeing the Republicans taking the House, although she didn't think the red wave would be that big. She did say one of the silver linings of this, and I'm paraphrasing, is that the U.S. Population would see just how dysfunctional and non-serious the Republicans are. And we're certainly getting that in spades. Nothing is getting done. It's just ridiculousness with them. Okay. Maybe a pair of 4-carders here. Maybe a 6-carder on this one. Will the House GOP successfully impeach Mr. Mayorkas? I'm assuming we could set the time frame after Steve Scalise is back, but will Mayorkas be impeached? Illusions and delusions, lack of integrity. That's interesting, because one of the things I heard is that he's a man of high integrity. So if you're going to take down a man of high integrity through lies and deception, it means you lack integrity. The House GOP congressmen lack integrity. Yeah, they're making Mayorkas' life miserable, because it's like, what am I supposed to do? You haven't given me the tools I need to do my job. I've been working with the politicians trying to do my job. You say you want legislation to get the job done. They create legislation, then you don't vote for it. He's basically in a no-win situation. He knows he's being sacrificed. And that's part of the Republican plan, or that's part of Mike Johnson's next step plan, to show that they're doing something. Right? Look, we impeached the Homeland Security cabinet member, Mayorkas. First impeachment of a cabinet member in 100 years. Congratulations, bro. In the past, we got the 10 of Wands. Again, it's been a hard burden for Mayorkas to get his job done, but it's been an equally hard burden for the Republicans to try and show that he's committed high crimes or misdemeanors. And they haven't been able to do it. They couldn't get the votes today to do it. But they're going to keep working on it, and of course they are going to keep fundraising off of it, because the southern border is the only thing that they have that they can run on, that they can say it's Biden's weakness, and the Democrats are just want open borders, and there's an invasion at the southern border, etc., etc., etc. So, and then they fundraise off of it. Get votes, get fundraising. Overarching energy, they're going to keep working on this, is the agreement. They might convince some of the Republican holdouts to vote yes. I think also when Steve Scalise comes back in, Donald Trump's going to get what he wants, which is somebody not named Donald Trump being impeached by the House. The lesson to be learned is the Page of Cups. The Republicans aren't serious. They're MAGA, QAnon, spouting, delusional. These two cards here. They're just delusional. They're not serious minded. They will tell everybody that they want that this cup does not have a fish in it. Or that fish is supposed to be in that cup. Just drink the liquid. You won't notice it. Ignore what your lying eyes tell you. Yeah, they'll impeach him. They play to win. This is kind of like, they want to impeach Biden, and they may not be able to get there because they don't have anything against Biden. So this is like their consolation prize. Congratulations, bro. Your lack of a plan, your lack of foresight means that you go after somebody in a way of low integrity. It's not that Congress can't get along or they can't compromise. It's one of the parties in Congress can't get along and can't compromise. They can't even get along within their own party ranks because it's not really a party, it's a coalition. All right. I'll skip the Israel funding bill. Not that it's not interesting, but they're trying to tie the Israel funding and the Taiwan funding and the Ukraine funding in with the border security package that the Republicans negotiated hard on, gave them... That was a slip of the tongue. Negotiated for a very long time in a very uncompromising way to get what they wanted, get everything they wanted, and then they can't take yes for an answer because Donald Trump doesn't want them to take yes for an answer. All right, so I kept seeing the border deal going through, and all the news is like they're never going to agree to it because Trump doesn't want them to, and for them to go through it means they have to grow a spine, but at the same time they want to get the funding for Ukraine and Israel through there. Well, they want to get the funding for Israel through there, but they've tied it to this border security thing that they themselves have torpedoed. How are maybe the better question is, how are the Republicans or how is Congress going to get out of this mess? If they are going to pass the border security like I was seeing before, how do they get out of this mess? Okay, well, first off, will they pass the border security? Little four-carder. Well, it's held hostage now. The energy 2 days ago and a couple days ago was they were going to get that thing through. They were going to get it through. The energy has changed, and in their own damn worst enemy. They've done this to themselves because some people have tied themselves to Trump, and they just can't go against what dear leader says. So now they're stuck. Betrayal, heartbreak, again, Langford, Sinema, and I don't know who it was on the Democrat side, negotiated this bill. Gave them everything the Republicans have wanted for like the last 40 years on the southern border. They got everything they could have possibly wanted, and then their supporters vote no. Because they're delusional. They lack integrity. They're not realistic. They're not serious-minded. They don't know what to value because they were never elected. These people were never elected to legislate. They were elected to obstruct. And when your only tool's a hammer, all your problems look like nails. Now, if your problem is a nail, it works great. If your problem is a screw, well, a hammer can still work. If your problem is a plate glass window, not so good. Well, what are they going to do? They're stuck. They're stuck with their decisions. They're stuck with their lack of integrity because they're letting the crazy uncle tell them what to do. They're following the crazy uncle's lead. And, never mind actually legislating. Yeah, this is all about Trump. Oh, God. Victory. Did they still snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? Is this just, and this might just be calling attention to them and their victimhood here too. Maybe eventually they do. Maybe they get a better job. Maybe the Democrats also grow jelly for a spine and let this and compromise even more and let the Republicans set up machine gun nests on the southern border so that they can gun down all the brown people and just say that they're gang members or something like that. I don't know. Sarcasm. Sorry. Not wishing for that, but it's like, it's like, what other cruelty would you like to inflict on these people coming over seeking asylum? What other cruelty do you want to impose upon them? Do you have to gun them down? Maybe you don't want machine guns. Maybe you want flamethrowers. Maybe that's what you want, For many sakes. How do they get themselves out of this mess? How do the Republicans get themselves out of this mess? What do they need to do? Or not what do they need to do? What will they do? Or will they do anything to get themselves out of this mess? Grift, grift, grift. Money, money, money. Messaging. I had some people asking how I read the cards, and do I just take the straight card meaning and then do that? It's like, it's kind of like a breadcrumb on a trail. The way I describe it's like the cards kind of lay out the forest for me, and then I try and figure the path out to the answer. So you might hear me just talking about, as you hear, it's like, okay, pages of pentacles. Pages are about messages. Pentacles are about health, about money, about values. So it's like, do they have to rebrand themselves with their values? This card also, for me, in previous readings, represents the grift. How they're raising money and things along those lines. Usually with election interference, but you get the idea. How do they get themselves out of this? And it's got to be messaging. Messaging on their values. Now, if the first problem they have is they don't have a platform. So I don't know how you're going to change your message on values with this. You know what it is? They have to be the ones offering a solution. It's like they can't have the Democrats be any part of this. It has to be an all-Republican solution. Otherwise, they're just the victims. Victims, victims, victims. All a bunch of victims. Donald Trump. Oh, God. Okay. That's making sense now. Yep. There's the money. Okay. Here's the deal. Donald Trump... and this goes back to that Ronna McDaniel video I put up this morning. The Republican National Committee has no money. A lot of the Republican parties in various states don't have any money. Why? Because Donald Trump has sucked all the money out of the room. He has grifted and he has taken all that money. So the GOP candidates are held hostage to Donald Trump because they don't have access to cash. If they want cash, they have to go through this guy, which means they have to carry his message. So how do the Republicans get victory? How do they get themselves out of this? They've got to get they have to convince Donald Trump to change his messaging on this so they have the political cover to approve it. That's how they get out of it. Good luck. All right, well, I guess that can happen. I guess that could happen because Donald Trump is he's got two things. He's got a lot of court cases, which have a lot of lawyer bills, which the RNC was paying for, but I guess maybe the RNC is not paying for it anymore, and that's why Trump is ready to toss Elise Stefanik under the bus. Not Elise Stefanik, excuse me. I did it again. Miss Romney. Gotta use Romney like I do Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Ronna McDaniel. That's why he's tossing. I think that's why he's tossing Ronna McDaniel under the bus. I think the RNC stopped paying his legal bills. Pay for it yourself. All right, well, you're gone. The RNC ran out of money paying his legal bills, and they probably told him, "You need to start paying him. We don't have any money," and now they don't have any money, so they're going to blame Ronna McDaniel for that. How? Now they could offer political support for Trump. Put a lot of pressure on Nikki Haley so Trump gets the nomination, and then maybe he'll do a deal with them. How are the Republicans going to message with Trump to get him to change his messaging on the southern border? Nostalgia. Mention to Trump that he's the son of immigrants? No. Mention to Trump that his wife came in and they did chain migration with her parents? No. Appeal to Trump's softer, more emotional side? No. You know what this is? The only thing that's left? Naivety. Trump's or theirs. I think they're being naive if they think they can do anything with messaging. But messaging they will try. Getting on the airwaves, stumping for Trump on TV, because we all know Trump watches lots of TV. Oh, of course, you got to get the impeachments and do the Drunken Hillbilly Brawl dance, because nothing Trump loves more than a good, insurrection and riot. That always brings a tear to his eye. It's like the greatest hits from the good old days, and make other people's life miserable. Probably tell him how he's a victim would help too. But most of all, get Tucker Carlson to put a good word in for him with Vladimir, because Vladimir never calls him anymore. Boo! Most of all, he can be bought. He wants money. Luxury items. He would change his position on the southern border if they provided him with quid pro quo type moments. I guess that's the naivety, because they know exactly what he wants. They just don't have the capacity to give it to him. They don't have any money, and that's the only thing he wants is money. Jiminy Christmas. Okay, well, I'm going to leave that there. This is just, what a giant cluster this thing is. Is there anything I want to throw in the Senate? I got nothing. I don't need... Okay, fine. What's the spiritual message in all this? What is it? Maybe... What is it we're supposed to learn? I don't want to say we, because I think we already get it. It's like, what are they supposed to learn from it? Us and them. Fine. What do human beings as a collective need to learn from this? See, the whole thing is you can't start using and theming them. I mean, even it's a great song on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album, but from Spirit's point of view, we're all supposed to be coming together in one big, giant, epping kumbaya. And, I'm gonna get Spirit dope slapped. Stop it! Throw the damn cards. Be happy. All right, Spirit. What is this silly lesson we're all supposed to be learning here? Oh, the value of money, the raspberry bush, picking the fruit when it's ripe. Learning how to count. Nancy Pelosi's right. You got to learn how to count. It's values. Cultivating your values. Doing the hard work up front and then watching what grows from it. Basically, this is you reap what you sow. If you sow Five of Wands chaos, I really wanted the Five of Wands to be there, Two of Wands. If you sow chaos, you're going to get a chaos bush with chaos berries on it, which is great if it's Captain Crunch, but it's not Captain Crunch. This is what you got to live with. And this is your planning. And again, these are the cards that came up for Mike Johnson, right? You reap what you sow, and you have to plan. So if you don't have a plan, you're going to get lots of chaos. Planning can help change this. Fighting Oh God, the Tower card's up there too. So I'm going to pull it up just because I accidentally put it out. So you get 4 cards here. You reap what you sow. You've got to plan for advance. You've just got to look forward on it. You got to take a look at your values, your core values. What are your core values? What do you stand for? Then fight for those core values. Fight to advance your ideals in society. You can either manifest those ideals to me, it's like if they're positive and they help people improve, then these ideals can advance and you advance as society. But if your ideals are lies or illusions, it's a tower moment. It's going to bring you down. So you have to stand in honor and in integrity to move things forward and advance your values. They're easier to fight that way. Evaluate it, plan it, propose it, fight for it. If it's high energy, high vibrational stuff, you can manifest and get it through. But if it's low stuff, it's selfishness, you're going to just bring everything down with you. It's not going to go anywhere. I think that's a reasonable spiritual message, and I think we will leave it at this point. You've spent the better part of 32 minutes with me. Your coffee's getting cold. Thank you very much for supporting my channel and watching these videos and giving it the comments and the thumbs ups and the shares and everything you do to help feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to a wider audience. 2 folks just discovering this channel recently. This is a little bit of a longer video, but it's what you get. A bit more broad and in-depth as far as things go with that. I usually try to focus on one subject. But anyways, welcome to the channel. Glad you found us. Hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.